Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Football Overseas YouTube channel. And it's another round of midweek EFL Championship fixtures, a full programme. So it was worth coming on, I think, just to go through the who's playing who and what might happen and what perhaps briefly did happen at the weekend. A quick look at the league table tells us that Sheffield United are still top, having got an excellent 2-2 draw against West Brom. Away from home, that's always a tricky one, isn't it, as we know. And Leeds had a comfortable 2-0 win against Derby. They were the only winners in the top three, Burnley drawing as well this weekend. So there we have it. At the top it's Sheffield, not much change really. Sheffield's still top, but it's all getting quite close. 4 points covering the top, 3 points covering the top four teams. And then there's a bit of a gap of 5 points to Middlesbrough. So that's the top. Down at the bottom, it's Hull now with 6 losses on the bounce, have hit rock bottom. So they can't go they can only go one way now, and hopefully for their sake, their new coach will oversee a rise up the table for them. Portsmouth had an excellent home win, their first proper win, I suppose you would say, a 3-0, comfortable 3-0 win against Bristol City, who were completely out of touch. I watched some of that on the highlights, and yes, they were very, very much second best, and Portsmouth deservedly took the points. So they were very excited down at Fratton Park at the weekend, and they've got those games in hand, of course, from the 2 postponements. So things starting to look a bit rosier for them, and it's very tight at the bottom. From 15 on Hull at the bottom to 17th place on 19 points with Preston. So that's a quick review of where the table stands. Not much change really over the weekend, except, as I say, Hull hitting rock bottom, unfortunately. So we'll see what happens. So midweek, here we go then. I'll get through these. On Tuesday night, then, we start off with Burnley against Derby. As I say, Derby have just hit the buffers, really have. I mean, they perhaps weren't expecting to get much change out of Leeds, and they went down 2-0. And I think that'll be a repeat in this match. I'm going to take Burnley to certainly be nil, the way they've defended all season. But they did concede that 1 goal against Middlesbrough on a Friday night, so the flags went out a little bit. Yes, so Burnley against Derby, Burnley 2, Derby 0. Then we go to Luton, who had, probably for them, a disappointing 1-1 draw home to Swansea, having been 1-0 up. Stoke were edged out at Sunderland by 2-1, who got Sunderland getting their winning feeling back. But I think Luton will edge this one under the lights. A home crowd, they need to make sure you get back-to-back home games. You need to win one of them, really, ideally, and obviously. So hopefully Luton, from their perspective, will get that underway, and I think they will. I think they'll edge Stoke out just by 2-1. Luton 2, Stoke City 1. Plymouth, who were postponed because of the storm that hit the UK, or the southern and western half of the UK particularly, at the weekend. So Plymouth was postponed just due to high winds and safety for everybody. Sensible thing to do. They play Swansea, who, as I say, had that 1-1 draw at Luton. And I think Plymouth will nick a point here, but they really are now staring trouble in the face. They've gone into the bottom 3. It was their home record that was propping them up, and that's sort of wavering a little bit. But a tough game against Swansea. They're playing good stuff, generally speaking, and they're holding their own in the middle of the table. So they will go to Plymouth quite confident, I think, but I think it'll be a 1-1 draw down at home park. Then we have Portsmouth, who have a bit rejuvenated, really. The last 3 matches, they've picked up 7 points out of 9. Of course, they had a 2-match break enforced upon them. It certainly didn't do them any harm at the weekend. They absolutely put Bristol City away very easily indeed. Disappointing Bristol City, from my perspective, particularly. So, yes, a very poor performance by them. And Portsmouth made hay while the sun didn't shine, as it was the case on Saturday. But there we go. 3 points for them, I think, against Norwich, who had a terrible defeat against Queen's Park. A surprise defeat, let's call it that, against Queen's Park Rangers by 3-0. That came after scoring 10 at home and then going down to QPR being struggling. But QPR just showing signs of an uptick 4 matches unbeaten, 2 wins, 2 draws. So I'm going to take Norwich here to put right a few of those wrongs at the weekend and grab a draw at Portsmouth. It'll be another great night down at Fratton Park. Portsmouth 2, hopefully the lights will stay on this time. Portsmouth 2, Norwich 2. Sheffield Wednesday against Blackburn is next up on Tuesday. And Blackburn really plodding, getting out the results now. They're into the top 6, 31 points. Still, as I say, that little gap has come between teams now. The top 4 have got a 5-point gap, which is quite something. That's 2 wins while you stand still. So it's 5 points is quite a lot to make of any division, especially this one, where anyone can beat anybody, as is being proved on a weekly basis. So I think Sheffield Wednesday will give, although they've picked up a little bit, well, more than a little bit actually, 4 games unbeaten, 2 wins, 2 draws. But I think Blackburn would be a little bit too much for them, and I'm going to take Blackburn to win it the odd goal in 3. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Blackburn Rovers 2. Then we have Sunderland against Bristol City. So Bristol City, another tough away game for them, having been trounced at Portsmouth. Slightly embarrassingly, really, I think, when all said and done. Conditions are conditions for anybody, not just the home team. So it was a tough old afternoon down there for everybody concerned, but Portsmouth made hay, as we know, and Sunderland got back to winning ways against Stoke, and I don't think Bristol City are going to trouble their particular path to another win. I think Sunderland will run out comfortable winners. Sunderland 2, Bristol City 0. And the last game on Tuesday, the 8 o'clock kickoff, which indicates it's probably the main TV game of these. They're all on television of some sort. Leeds United against Middlesbrough, so that should be a pretty good match. I think Middlesbrough, as I say, have just really got their act together a little bit. Just 1 defeat in 6. 4 wins in that time as well. I think Leeds, though, just looking now, just doing the job, getting the job done. They've had the pain from last season. They seem to have got rid of that memory, or erased it a little bit, and are getting on with the job, and I think they will come up trumps on this one. Just Leeds United 2, Middlesbrough 1. Takes us into the 5 games that are scheduled for Wednesday night, the 11th. Cardiff, who also had their match postponed at the weekend against Watford, was it? It's gone out of my head who they were. But yes, so they had their match postponed. Yes, it was Watford. Absolutely. So Cardiff and Watford was postponed. Cardiff so lost a home game there. And Preston go there on Wednesday night. As I say, Preston have 10 draws under their in their column now. They're not quite the highest. West Brom have 11 draws, so we can see who the draw specialists have been so far this season. However, I think Cardiff will step up a little bit here, get back to winning ways at home, and edge the game by 2-1. So I'm going to take Cardiff City 2, Preston North End 1. We then have Hull against Watford. Hull, as I say, they're propping up the rest at the moment, but it is tight down there. And Ruben Sellers will be in charge, probably fully in charge for this first home match against Watford. But I think Watford have just got too much about them at the moment to be too troubled by Hull, even with a new manager bounce. So I'm going to take Watford to win this one and win the match by 1-0. Just, it's what Watford have been doing pretty well, especially away from home. Clean sheets have been their forte in a lot of matches. Millwall. Now, Millwall have just had a little bit, they're up next, a little bit of a down tick with 3 draws and a loss in the last 4 after such a good run that propelled them into the verge on the edge of the playoff bracket. They've had a few, as I say, a few indifferent results of late. And they, I suppose they got a free hit in this one against Sheffield United, but I can't see them troubling Sheffield United too much. Sheffield United looking good, proudly top of the table, and I don't think they're going to get disturbed from that perch on Wednesday night. I think they'll be top come the end of these fixtures, and it'll be Millwall 0, Sheffield United 2. Leaves us with 2 to go. Queen's Park Rangers, rejuvenated, I think is the word for Queen's Park Rangers. 2 wins, 2 draws after such a woeful run, wasn't it? That saw them bottom of the league and conceding goals and all very miserable. But they've just started to, as I say, put a few results together that have caught the eye. Particularly, they're not conceding goals. And they had an excellent 3-0 win against Norwich on Saturday at Loftus Road. They up against Oxford, who were sliding down the league a little bit after that promising start. And I think QPR are in on their momentum is with them. And I think they'll leapfrog Oxford because they're just behind them in the league table at the moment. They'll leapfrog Oxford with a 2-0 win. So I'm going to go Queen's Park Rangers 2, Oxford United 0. And finally, on Wednesday night, the final game of this midweek round is West Bromwich Albion against Coventry. So Frank Lampard, who had an excellent win down at Millwall in his second match, he'll have been very pleased with that clean sheet and everything else down at the Den. Not easy to come by. West Bromwich Albion was sort of, I said they'd be 0-0 with Sheffield United. It was the most really entertaining 2-each draw. What do I know? As everyone usually cries every week, I'm sure. So at least I got the draw right. But it was a very entertaining 2-2 draw. 2 quality sides on show. It was a televised game on Sunday afternoon. I watched a bit of it. Very good indeed. Some of the skills on show, some of the players on show. And I think West Brom will be just too good for Frank's Coventry. Can't stop calling it that. For Coventry City. But you never know. You just never know. Again, it's a bit of a local Midlands derby. So there'll be plenty of Coventry fans that always turn up in good numbers, and they'll be in good voice at the Hawthorns on Wednesday night. That is the televised game on Wednesday. Well, you shall have a little peep at that, I'm sure. And I'm going to take West Brom to sneak it by 2-1. So there we go. Another round, another busy week in the Championship. They do come round a lot. That's why I haven't lingered too much on the predictions and everything this time around. So I hope you have a great week, everybody. Stay safe as always. And we shall see the impact of this round of matches and review the upcoming games at the weekend. I'll be with you, I'm sure, towards the end of the week. Stay safe, take care. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Leave any comments as you wish. And I will see you all again very soon. Thanks for listening.